I could probably name someone at every table that's just been a great friend and become a great friend and ally for what we're trying to do for the outdoors. So I just want to thank all of you guys for real friendship, because I have found that some of the best friendships I've made and probably the strongest relations I've had and made over the course of my career and over my life have been around a campfire. What's the coolest thing about being here right now for me is that I'm probably the most unlikely speaker to ever be at this banquet. When you think about it, I'm a city boy from New York City. It's hard to believe some of the legislators and some of the guys from some of the big outdoor conservation organizations that I met today, whatever I said, it didn't matter, but they looked at my boots and they said, those boots are pretty well worn. This guy may be the real deal. That was my instant credibility. From about the age of 5, I went off with my grandfather for 6 to 8 weeks every summer to, again, then communist Czechoslovakia. And I really learned what it was like to, see the other side and to be from that perspective. And, his idea for me was to say, there's the woods, go play. I'll see you at dark. And after 6 of 8 weeks of doing this, I really got into it and I started to figure it out. And the more and more I went back and had friends there and spoke the language, but just, guys, again, it was around a campfire. It was just an incredible experience. And I learned that everything in life didn't have to do with material goods or anything like that. It was about relationships. It was about being in the woods. I went off to boarding school and there was a gentleman there named Gordon McAlpin who was the dean of students, and he was one of those guys that could shoot 100 straight and skeet with a 410, and he took me out all the time skeet shooting, and he took me on my first upland bird shoot. I was about 12, 13 years old, and from that point on I just fell in love with the hunting lifestyle. I fell in love with every aspect of it. It's really because of those hunters and because of the things that they've done over the last over 100 years, starting with Roosevelt, that we have the great fauna and flora and wildlife that we have today all over the world. I just got so into it that I read every book and took every opportunity, and there's been so many guys along the way that have been mentors like that. So for this to go on and for us to have these same experiences with our families, be a mentor to someone, take a young kid out, take a woman out, make sure that everyone experiences the great outdoors the way we've all been lucky to experience it. That's the only way this is going to survive for the next generation. This is my little guy. This is my son. He was 5 years old at the time up in Alaska, and this was my brother's bachelor party. So rather than doing the no upside Vegas bachelor party, I took my brother and 10 of his friends to Alaska to go fishing, so that some of those guys who'd never fished, some were experienced anglers like my brother, some had never picked up a fishing rod before, and I said, you know what, we're going to introduce you. So again, I put my money where my mouth is when it comes to this stuff. And there were a couple of great places that we went to fish, and they're saying, hey Don, you can't bring your son in here because we had a 12-year-old here last week, and it's a 7-mile hike out through the bog, and there's no way that little guy can do it. And my son looks up at me and goes, Dad, I can do it. So I looked at the guy and I said, well, there's the answer, and I'll bring a backpack to stick him in if we have to carry him out myself. And if you wouldn't know it, that little man did the 7-mile hike out through the bog after a long day of fishing all by himself, when the 12-year-old that the guy had to carry out, who was crying in tears the week before, couldn't do it. Because the outdoors makes you rise to the occasion. You give a kid a chance, they're going to take it and they're going to excel. So again, make sure to get them out there. I'm really happy to be a voice for our cause because I believe in it so much. It's a great American tradition. It's as good as almost as the great American family tradition. We're coming to a critical time in this country. There's a lot of things that are going wrong. Our traditions are being attacked. The people who are going to try to take away our rights, our access to land, our ability to own firearms and carry them, our ability to hunt and fish. Those people, they love the politics game. They love when you sit at home and pretend that you don't want to play, because they're going to take advantage of that. And if I talk about myself as an outdoorsman, I say so with so much pride because I know that the benefits that I got from being in the woods, from being in a duck blind, from being in a tree stand at 5 o'clock in the morning, kept me out of so much other trouble I would have gotten into in my life, that I want to make sure that that lifestyle, those great American traditions, are there for our kids, for their kids behind them, and for all future generations, because they're invaluable experiences. If I can get some kid off a couch, get them away from a video game, learning the disciplines of shooting a rifle, take them into the woods on a hunt, teach them how to cast a fly rod. If I can get them out there and do that and make sure that we can perpetuate for the next generation, I'm really happy to do it, which is why I'm so happy when all these guys today came up to me and just said, hey, Don, thank you for lending an intelligible voice. Sometimes you have to say it like it is, and when you have the problems that we do in this country, sometimes you have to use the hammer. It's nice to be soft when you can, but you can't be afraid to speak your mind and to tell things like it is. And that's one of the big issues we have in this country. So I think my father's trying to remedy that, and he's doing a good job of it. So I urge all of you, make sure to go out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Let the politicians know that sportsmen will make a difference, that sportsmen will turn out on a snowy day because that's our comfort zone, that they'll turn out and they'll vote for the things that they believe in, because that's going to keep these traditions and these great American heritage of hunting, fishing, and the outdoors and conservation alive.